Hey guys, and in this video I'm going to show you how to stop emotional eating with 3 solutions that have been shown to stop emotional eating in its tracks. And make sure you keep watching to the end, where I share 3 questions you must ask yourself to put you in the right frame of mind to stop emotional eating. If you want to know more about emotional eating and other factors that influence your health, be sure to subscribe to this Fit by Health channel. Recently, I sent out a questionnaire to my audience around emotional eating. I wanted to get a sense of people's different experience with emotional eating and how they interpret what's going on. Without fail, the responses were geared around using emotional eating to avoid feeling a certain way or to feel better when other methods have failed. This in a way is no surprise. The common definition of emotional eating in the research is emotional eating is the act of eating in response to negative emotions. I'm sure you're watching this have a general idea of this already and have your own experiences of how you have used emotional eating in response to experiencing a negative emotion. In the responses from my community, the commonest reasons for emotional eating were when you're bored, when you're tired, when you're sad. It's worth noting, boredom or tiredness is not always construed as negative, but it is used in eating as an avoidance tactic to mask something else going on, i.e. you can't think of anything else to do. The problem with emotional eating is, 1, the obvious one, it promotes overeating. No one emotionally eats on vegetables. It is almost exclusively highly processed, sugar-laden foods. This category of food is designed specifically for you to enjoy and eat more calories than you think you are due to its absence of fiber. 2. It creates a perception you lack control in what you eat. Whenever you feel powerless, you feel less confident you can solve the problem. And 3. It provides a context to validate your beliefs about yourself and your capabilities. If you feel that you lack willpower or you're gluttonous or unattractive, the after effects of emotional eating almost always validates these viewpoints in your eyes. This is why the lure of these foods during times of emotional eating are short-lived, because they very frequently are followed by feelings of guilt, shame and regret. When I speak to people about their experiences with emotional eating, these are the common things they say to me. It's like a vicious circle. It's all consuming. My emotional eating is out of control. None of these sound like they are the perfect context for nurturing health, getting strong, fitter, and being sustainably leaner. So emotional eating can be seen, and I would recommend seeing it like this way, as a separate entity to weight loss. Weight loss is extremely difficult to achieve if you frequently emotionally eat, but losing weight won't curb emotional eating. This is borne out in research into combating emotional eating, such as mindfulness and CBT, in that they help in gaining control over your eating, but these methods rarely result in weight loss as a byproduct. So why is this the case? Because emotional eating tends to be the response solution to an emotionally perceived context. And these emotionally perceived contexts will occur before, during, and after you lose weight, because they're part of life. So while they influence each other, such as people unhappy with their weight are more likely to emotionally eat, emotional eaters are more likely to be out of weight they are unhappy with. Altering one, for example weight loss, won't necessarily eradicate the other, emotional eating. Before we go into how you can stop emotional eating, please remember to subscribe to this channel, Fit by Health. I will provide you with more value like this, and I'd love for you to be part of the Fit by Health community. Just press the subscribe button below this video. So how can you tackle emotional eating? I will give you 3 tactics that you can use to help you tackle emotional eating. 1. Learn to manage emotion with tools other than eating. One of the theories of emotional eating is the affect regulation theory. Primarily a learn-based theory, it proposes that people emotionally eat because the palatable nature of foods you eat to counter the negative emotion makes you more likely to repeat that experience again in the future. It doesn't matter that you feel shame or regret after. In that moment you feel the negative emotion, your brain will sort for similar experiences in the past and remember you satisfies it by eating. It's like when a smoker smokes during a work break. They may really want to quit, but as a smoker, during the break they have that cigarette and that initial exhale of smoke provides a small relief to the strains of work. That's all that's needed. Now with the issue of eating is the consequence. The food almost exclusively chosen to avoid negative emotion are also foods associated with weight gain. And so the consequence is feeling guilt, shame and regret, and very commonly weight gain. So we have negative emotions and you want to manage these negative emotions without the consequences that eating brings. I want to point you to two tools you can use: breathing and mindfulness. Breathing to regulate emotion is something I am a keen advocate of, mainly because it's free, it's something we already do, and it's immediately accessible. When experiencing negative emotions, the power is in the exhale. A powerful example of this is the phenomena known as screen apnea. This is where you are focusing on an email that has come through, maybe from your boss, and it is shown that when reading an email you hold your breath. Only for a tiny period, but when you consider the amount of emails you probably get in a day, it can happen a lot, and as a result is rising blood pressure. When you exhale, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of the nervous system associated with rest and digest. It is where you can be at your most relaxed. This is in stark contrast to another part of the nervous system known as the sympathetic nervous system. This is where adrenaline and cortisol goes wild. Both these hormones are associated with the state of anxiety, worry, and other negative emotions. They are good at getting you alert, but not on a Friday night after a long day where all you want to do is relax, but your mind is still racing. So a simple breathing exercise you can do is do one round of inhaling for 4 seconds and then exhale for 4 seconds. Do this 5 times. The next round, I want you to inhale for 4 seconds and now exhale for 5 seconds. Again, do this 5 times. The final round, inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. Do this again 5 times. What this is getting you used to doing is elongating your breath and having you focus on a single entity, i.e. your breathing. You'll find yourself becoming calmer as you do this more and more. The second tool is mindfulness. Now, a mountain has been released on mindfulness, and you've probably seen how mindfulness has become more popular over the last decade. In the description box below, I will link to some books that I recommend. The main principle of mindfulness is non-judgmental acknowledgement. What I mean by this is noticing your thoughts pass through your mind and so not react to them. You see, emotion and consequently feelings are a feedback loop. Your brain takes in information from your experiences, assigns meaning to it, which generates thoughts and feelings. As you continue with these thoughts and feelings, this feeds back into your brain and amplifies the feelings. By learning to be mindful of these thoughts but not react to them, you break the chain. You starve the thought of fuel, and so the emotion of feelings fails to build. The beginning of mindfulness involves just noticing your thoughts come and go. Learn to see them pass like credits in a film. They are on the screen and then they go. By doing this, they no longer hold significance, and as a result, the severity of emotions associated with them diminishes. The second tactic is awareness, and in particular awareness of 2 things: what triggers emotions that lead to emotional eating, and also awareness of actual physical signs of hunger. One of the common statements I hear of people who experience emotional eating is, I try to be good, then I find myself eating everything I see in the cupboards. Another one is, when I get home in the evening, it's about 2 hours before I have tea. In that time, I gorge. Both these examples it is critical that you are aware that this is a common pattern for you, so you can make adjustments so it happens less. To acknowledge it but do nothing about it invites the pattern just repeating itself. As an exercise, note down examples of when you have emotionally eaten over the last couple of weeks, and note down what happened in that period before the episode and the context at which you were able to emotionally eat. So you could say, for example, I came home, I was tired, annoyed by the traffic, knew my dinner was going to take at least 40 minutes to cook. The context is you having a large bar of chocolate in the fridge and crisps in the cupboard. You may not be able to think of up all of the examples, but just come up with a few so you can get used to becoming aware of similar patterns that may arise. The second part is being aware of your natural hunger signals. One of the other theories of emotional eating is the psychosomatic model. This is the idea individuals overeat in response to negative emotions because of the lack of the ability to distinguish between that and hunger. As a result, individuals might confuse physiological arousal related to emotions with hunger, and therefore respond with eating instead of seeking to regulate their emotions. One way you can do this is during a period of neutral emotion, fast for a period of time and notice what feelings come up, being aware of the intensity and placement of that feeling, typically in the belly area. Notice how it develops as you spend time in that fasted state. Being able to distinguish between the two will help you if you wanted to move to a more intuitive style of eating, where you eat when you are hungry rather than at specific times. The third one is behavioral, ultimately making it harder for yourself to emotionally eat. This can include buying single items of processed food rather than packets. Another option is eat big amounts of fruit before eating the processed food. The main purpose of this is to increase the time frame between feeling the emotion and the act of eating. When doing this, it increases the chance you come back to a presence of mind rather than eating in a mindless way. Another option is don't have this type of food in the house. Now, as one person said to me, this type of food is so easily accessible, I just go out and buy it. And that is very true. And you may implement all of these processes and still emotionally eat. What we are doing here is making it harder for you so you make it less likely to eat these foods. When you incorporate all three of these tactics, we are tackling the issue from three positions: changing state, being more aware, and changing your environment. If this means you have 2 emotional eating episodes in the month rather than 5 you would have had, this would be a success that you can build on. So emotional eating is a big topic, and I'll be adding more videos into this area, so be sure to subscribe. And before I go, as a bonus, I want to leave you with 3 questions you can ask yourself to increase your awareness of the patterns that are present when you emotionally eat. By noticing the patterns, you can begin to make tweaks to them. So the 3 questions are: when do I tend to emotionally eat? What do I tend to emotionally eat on? And what feelings do I tend to emotionally eat to avoid? I covered a lot in this video, and I hope it will shed some light on how you can stop emotionally eating. If you have any questions or things that you would like me to cover, put them in the comments box below. And remember to like this video and subscribe to the Fit by Health channel. So until the next video, I'll see you then.